Hello, so my name is Richard Mooney. I'm the product manager for advanced analytics for big data, working on the Predictive Analytics 2.0 product line, and I'm joined here today by Mike. Mike, do you want to introduce yourself and start off?
Absolutely. Thank you, Richard, and thanks everybody for your time today. This is Mike Watschke. I am in the Global Predictive Center of Excellence for Predictive, and I'm going to lead you off today, starting out with just simply our strategy. And you know, these sessions are for you. So as Jan and Richard eloquently stated, you know, we encourage feedback, we encourage comments from you, and I know that we'll be polling you toward the end of this to see if there's any additional topics that you guys would like to see. But we consider ourselves experts in this area only because you guys are experts. So we're here to enable you to make sure that you have what you need. And we wanted to start out with really just an overview of where SAP is in this space. And we want to be different. We want to be better. We want to be more unique. And I'm hoping that when you see some of our slides and see some of our product direction as we go through these series and really see more of the hands-on of the tool itself, which we are going to do today, you'll agree with us, and that's our objective. We want to be faster, we want to be simpler, and we want to be everywhere. And I think the first two kind of go without saying. The last one really means that we want to be embraced by lots of different kinds of users. We think as an organization that predictive analytics is rather useless unless people can actually use it effectively to affect change in the organization, right? And whether that be a data scientist, a business analyst, a business person, a line of business manager, someone in a storefront, someone on a shop floor, or an executive, right? All of those people need, in some form or another, the ability to interact with predictive analytics. So I think where we really fit into this is that we have this capability now to spot opportunities in real time. We can do real-time predictive on big data. Some of you on this community call are experts as well. You're kind of plugged in to what's going on here at SAP. You've heard a lot about predictive inside of HANA. You've heard about predictive solutions. You may have heard some myths that hopefully we can dispel today too. And really what we mean by opportunities in real time and real-time predictive on big data is that these things work together. So the predictive tools, right, Predictive Analytics 2.0, works very well with HANA. It means that we can leverage HANA as an in-database predictive engine, and we can do things in real time or near real time because we can do that in memory, right? That's the capability. So we're not necessarily doing predictive solely inside of HANA or solely inside of the predictive analytics tool. We're kind of marrying them together and working very well together. Now that said, it doesn't stop there. So HANA is not a requirement to do it. It's made better with HANA or another big data platform, such as Teradata or Oracle or Hadoop, right? All of those things make predictive that much better. So we have when we produce models and score results and what we call persist that model in real time, we're actually doing it in database. We leave the data where it should reside inside that database. We also want to be able to make predictions simple, fast, and accurate, and we do a lot of that through automation. Hopefully you're going to see some of that today. As we go through this series, you're going to see a lot of that. We'll point that out as we do it. I'll point a little bit of that out today. You see a lot more of that as those of you that are used to working with traditional algorithms per se, don't see a lot of that, right? You see reference to the type of model that you want to build, but you're not working with code and statistical formulas and equations at the end of this thing, right? We are building this model for you and encapsulating that logic with an abstract layer. The automation also means that you can build models faster and more simply, right? And it's understandable to both a data science, a statistician kind of role, as well as a business audience. So again, it's easy for us to say that. It's a little bit harder for us to show it to you without saying, hey, trust me, right? But you're going to see a lot of that through the series, I guarantee you. The last piece here is that we don't want to stop there. So if we just had a tool that gave you some really cool analysis and said, here's how you're doing, here's how, oh yeah, we can predict part failures, we can show you who your best customer is, we can show you how to do cross-sell, upsell more effectively, we can show you how to run the best marketing campaign, right, get into optimization and increasing sweet spots of things, right, which predictive is very good at doing. And if we stop there and said, all right, you're on your own now, we showed you the visualization, now you go do something about it, we'd have a bridge there to cross. And most of the customers we work with are not at that point where they can cross that bridge yet. So what we do is we take that model and we embed it into an application, into a business process. We can do that in Java code, in HTML, and JavaScript, as SQL, into the database, in C, right? All of these capabilities for taking the logic of that model and embedding it and being able to service whatever application or process is calling that model to return results effectively, right? We have a lot of integrations here at SAP. We'll probably show some of those through the duration of the series, but not today. And as you come along with us on this journey in this series, you'll see some of those, and it's good stuff. So very quickly in the slide, I know it's kind of a lot to read. I think one of the reasons we put this slide out here is because we want you to understand what's in the solution. And secondly, as we go through the series of these webinars, we'll be covering almost every single one of these things that's in a yellow box, right? And I think that'll be really good for all of you to see how we do data preparation, how we do scoring, how we handle visualizations. Today we'll do social and recommendation, actually, kind of into one, because I think it's a good introduction to the tool, and it's very declarative in terms of what you're going to see as the output, the results. What we mean by automated analysis throughout this, how we handle the SDK and APIs, what we mean by expert analytics, right? Because there's an automated side to this, and there's an expert side to this too, where people can write their own algorithms if they want to. We work with a lot of data scientists that say, hey, what about my R? I don't want to let go of my R. I've got all these algorithms I built. Well, absolutely, you can extend our product, and that's where we get into expert analytics. So we'll have a session focused just on that. And then, of course, model management. So once we get these things into production, we've gone through our training and testing exercise. We need to be able to get them into production, monitor how they're doing in terms of the predictive power and confidence. For example, how are the models being interpreted by new results as they come in? Are they sliding up? Are they sliding down? Are we losing some of our predictive confidence in the model? Do we need to retrain the model, for example? Do we need to add variables and enrich it? And that's the whole model management area. And then, of course, connectors to third-party systems as well, like Hadoop. And then, of course, we'll have a session that's dedicated more to how we interoperate and how that marriage works between predictive analytics as a solution and then HANA. So what does that mean for predictive analysis library, the PAL that's been around for a long time, the automated predictive library, which is APL, which takes advantage of what we're doing from a predictive analytics solution in an automated mode, and then how we work with R. Okay, Richard? Hand it over to you.
Excellent, Mike. Thank you. Cool. So one of the things we're going to do through this series is to look at some of the use cases that our customers are using our technology for. And the key point about this is it shows what can be done, and it allows you to imagine how your business can be impacted and optimized by predictive analytics. But it also shows us how you can generate value from this and then generate a return on investment. And one of the key things about predictive analytics is it allows you very easily to generate a return on investment from the data that you already have with a minimal amount of investment. So the first use case that people often use it for is to show predictive cause and effect. And this allows us to support our strategic decision making by showing what's really driving our business, why one region is performing better than another, whether we need to replicate what that region is doing, or whether we need to invest more in the region that's performing better because the business environment is better. And the main thing about this is it helps us understand why our business is behaving the way it does. And it helps us then to make decisions based on that. But once we've made these decisions and once we've shown the predictive cause and effect, a huge amount of predictive analytics is about generating return on investment from operations. And that could be operations optimization, such as working out what the call volumes are going to be in a call center and being able to have the right amount of call center workers on call at a given time as a result of that. understanding how many installers you need in a given quarter for a given period, understanding how it is that you're going to smooth out the peaks and troughs of your business in order to be able to operate at maximum efficiency. We can also use it for fraud detection. We can see which customers are likely to be fraudulent in the future. We can see which transactions are fraudulent now, so that, for example, in the case of a stolen credit card or loyalty card, we could cancel it straight away if we think there's a fraud happening. Or we could use the technology to understand what transactions were fraudulent in the past and maybe recoup the losses from those. In addition, we can look at customer churn. We can understand which customers are going to churn. We can have a think and model out what offers are likely to prevent them from churning. And we can use prescriptive analytics and optimization techniques to work out, well, is it worth actually continuing to have this customer? Is it better to let them churn because the amount of effort and investment required to keep them on board is more than we're going to make a profit from? And then finally, we've got the areas which are really, really important in business-to-consumer industries, such as increasing net customer value by quickly identifying customers who have a high potential net worth to the business and treating them differently to the rest of the customers that come along, and also being able to do things like recommend next best product or service directly at the point of sale. So as we go through this webinar series, we're going to look in depth at specific customer use cases in every session so that we can really bring it home exactly what type of value you can derive from this product. And today, Mike is going to go in depth into recommend next best product or service. So I'll hand over to you, Mike, now.
Thank you, Richard. This is Predictive Analytics 2.0 that combines both automated analytics that you see here broken out with a number of different modules underneath it, as well as expert analytics. And expert analytics, just so you know, is the X Predictive Analysis product, which has more of the BW integration, has the integration to business objects, and has the native ability to develop your own R-based algorithms as well. And then we have automated analytics. I'm going to spend more time on automated analytics, and that's the X Infinite Insight product. And we have a very healthy roadmap in a way, in a defined time period where we're going to fully converge these two products and just have role-based different personas using the same tool set. And I think that's a great product direction. We've done a lot of that already, so we see a lot of it in the same UI here. Now, just for sake of time, because I said I'd show you some good stuff, in this concept of product recommendations, recommending the best product, we know there's a lot of marketing engines out there. There's a lot of optimization tools. There's something that's been around forever, right, called a priori, which is really just market basket analysis, right? If someone bought product B and they bought product A and they bought product B in the same transaction, we can do a one-to-one relationship and make assumptions about that going forward, right? That can only get organizations so far, right? Because if you're recommending a single product to someone and they decide not to take it, you've lost a sale, right? Now, what about all the other interactions that go on between products? We sometimes call them segues or swim lanes or different paths that they take. We have this whole area in predictive analytics called social or link analysis. Social is kind of a bad word because it's not always looking at social links, but some link. And link analysis is really designed to look at all those different relationships among people, among products, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, right? Telcos use this quite a bit too for looking at different people in family call plans, right? How many calls are they making, and how many of those callers are influencers that could help us promote, the next best offer, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do, just for sake of time, is kind of go through this a little bit quickly, but I want to show you building this actually from scratch today. I'm going to create a social network analysis, and I'm going to build a social graph from a data set. My data set is going to be it's going to start with transactions. This is electronic components. You'll see a lot of cameras and related equipment in here. And I'm just going to check my dates here. And click Next. I'm going to analyze this. And this is basically all my columns, right? Along with the storage and value, it made all those assumptions for me. If you need to change any of these, for example, it's really not date time and it's date, you can absolutely do that. We have angle in here too, so you can do geolocation kind of analysis if you're looking at that. At the same time, you'd be creating clusters while you're doing social link analysis. All that good stuff is supported as well. You can view the data. It's going to give me an error that some of my dates aren't transforming. I bet you they're not all four digits or something. So I'm going to click OK here, and that's fine. And then we have these different graph types. So I'm going to go ahead and just call this a graph name here. And we can do contacts. So just contacts, links between contacts, which will give contacts in the flow, whether it's singular or bidirectional, for example, transactions, proximity, how close are they, nearest neighbors, links only. This is transactions. And I want to look at, basically I'm going to combine customers with their transactions and look at all those different relationships among other customers and among other products very visually, right? So I need to start, my source node is going to be my customer ID. Target is item purchased. We have a purchase date in there, which is good. You have full control over time periods, and if you want to look at a very specific time window, for example, you just ran a campaign for 2 months, and you want to look at it that way, yeah, you can absolutely do that and choose all that kind of stuff. I'm going to click Add a Graph up here, and I'm going to say Derive Graph from a bipartite graph. This is where we start to split it now. So the first one I'm going to create is by customer ID. The second one will be by the items purchased. I'll click OK. You have different kinds of weight capabilities here, strictly based on support, Jacquard index, independence ratio, cosine, which is just location-based. I'm going to say independence ratio. And you can create all sorts of really cool filters and candidate lists and final selections and tell it how many nodes you would like to see. I'm going to go ahead and get that out of there. I just want to call this customer ID. And I'm going to click Add one more graph. And now we need to do the same thing for the transactions. Get that link analysis text out of there. And now I'm going to click Next. And this allows us to do more of the community detection too, not just individual detection and node pairing, but more of the community, so we can roll up and see communities of products as well, or communities of customers.
And Mike, how often would a person need to do this once they want to get their recommendation into operations?
That's a great question. And if we have time, I'll kind of finish that out too. Essentially, we are training the model what to look for, right? By looking at transactions and customers and their interactions. When we train the model what to look for, and we're happy with the results, the predictive power and the confidence, and in certain score thresholds, right? For the support of putting that into production, we are able to run that in database, in system, right? So think of this as modeling once and running many. And if you need to go back in, again, you still have the model management capabilities for looking at how it's doing in production 2 days from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, and we can go back in and change the model. And when we're done and we save it, we're actually committing that to the source system, and it's running in there.
So this is a once-off exercise, and during the duration of this call, you're actually configuring a recommendation engine that's going to be able to run for a long period of time into the future and be able to pump out recommendations all the time.
You got it. I'm just adding some descriptive attributes as well, so we can join right here without going to the database, right? We can join in as long as we have a common ID, such as a customer campaign response, loyalty tier, nearest store, first purchase date. Really, we're just adding some enhanced layering in the social models as well. I don't know if we'll have time to use them today, but I'm just showing you how that's done. Now I'm going to click Generate. Might get a date error, and that's fine. It'll still process. This should be rather quick. And if sometimes you're impatient like I am, you can go in here and you can look at how it's building things, how it's building the nodes. Okay? and all the density percentages and all that good stuff too. So we have some good analysis. I'll click next, and now all I'm going to do is click on Nodes Display, and I'm going to change that to Item Purchased. And let's start with this camera here. Okay, now let me fix this for you. I can loosen this actually a little bit so you can see more of this. Essentially what this is showing us is the strength of the relationships between products, starting with the Canon PowerShot, since that's what I chose, right? That's our primary product. All the associations by strength are appearing here. The ones with the wider, darker bars have a stronger association to the Canon PowerShot. So most people that are buying the Canon PowerShot that buy another product are buying this flash secure digital card right here. If you want to see the ones that just have good product associations and you want to get rid of some of these other ones, you just have to change this edge threshold right here, right? And it starts to reduce some of the lines that we're actually seeing here. Okay, so that's how that works. So what I'll do is I'm going to click on this digital camera here too. I'm going to say View this node separately in Items Purchased. And now we have that product. I'm going to change this, loosen this one up a little bit so you can see more of this too. And now we can see that when people are also buying the flash digital high capacity camera, they're also buying the digital camera tripod. And some are buying this compact flash card in addition to that too. So the product must support both. So one of the neat ways of looking at this analysis and seeing, all right, I talked about this earlier, right? What are the segments, the segues, the pathways that people are taking in between products, right? Because we already know that there's a one-to-one relationship between things. We can see that with the dark bars, right? We saw it in this report here, right? So we already know that. I think we can do better than that together. And I know that's very messy, so I can fix that for you too, of course. That should be default. I'm going to move the Canon PowerShot over here. And I'm going to take the digital card over here. Now this is really cool because this tells me three things. This tells me, number one, with this black line that connects the two products, there is a one-to-one relationship between the Canon PowerShot and this flash digital card. That's that black line. We already knew that, right? And again, a lot of tools that are simply doing a priori product association, market basket kind of analysis, right, are doing a lot of this kind of stuff. They're not showing a red and a green line intersects, means that someone did not take that one-to-one relationship. This right here, someone started looking at an 8 GB Elite Pro compact flash card, and in fact they chose a body. This person here got started with the Canon PowerShot and ended up choosing a 4 GB CF card and not the 64 GB flash card because they do not connect. Okay? So where they do connect, they ended up looking at other products, but ended up making that decision. Where they don't connect is where they've completely went outside of that. And we can show it both ways too. So anyone who started with a flash digital capacity card ended up buying this junior kit, probably for a child, and then this digital camera tripod, and didn't even connect to the camera itself. So you can see it both ways. And the cool thing about all this analysis is we're capturing all this. We're trying to be more intelligent with what we're doing. Now again, I said earlier, and I'm trying to be cognizant of time. I know we're getting up there. I just showed you some cool stuff. No, go away. Go do something about it. I think we'd all be lost, right? So when I go back, I'm just going to show you an example of changing this to look at a specific customer. I'll type in a customer here because we're capturing this all as rules now, right, with support. When I click on this customer and I'm saying do not write include bestsellers no matter what, even if they own it, because the bestsellers may be updated more frequently and maybe they want to upgrade, for example. We're saying base the recommendations on any one of these things, right? So you have full control over the formula, right, that goes into how we have confidence in someone making that recommendation. And then all the recommendations are down here along with the confidence, the percentage, the probability that we think that where they will buy it, right? So about a 41% chance that this customer will buy the wide strap for Canon EOS on next visit. Okay? Now this is just a way of looking at the model, right? We also have the ability to do this in batch recommendations. So we run this against all of our customers, and then we generate the model right here. We apply the model to be run in database. Now this is just to connect to databases, and we have connectors to SAS and SPSS and Excel and all that kind of stuff too, but we are absolutely generating the model to be run in the source system. So as new customers are entered in, or customers change their profile, the rules would be run in near time or real time, however you want to set it up, to generate product recommendations on the fly. Okay, so that's how we do social and link analysis and make better product recommendations. Oh, go ahead, Richard.
So just in the meantime, Mike, I mean, how do people consume this typically operationally? They don't typically look at our modeler. Do they see it on the web page, or how do they see it?
Yeah, and I didn't have time to do that. What I'll do is in the SCN posting, I'll give a couple screenshots of how this would interact with like an e-store and how we make product recommendations better that way. I know I didn't have time to show that today, but I will give you all some screenshots so you can see. In fact, we've integrated into something called Customer Engagement Intelligence, and it gets into SAP's Hybris product, right, which is an e-commerce and marketing platform to make better product recommendations. But it can be embedded in part of a process or an application for anything. We've done things with Salesforce. We've done things with Oracle, right? We've done things with with the Siebel product. There's just lots of capabilities for embedding and providing that experience. And that goes without saying for any of the models that you create, whether it's a classification model, we're doing telco churn, whether it's a regression model, we're trying to figure out when parts might fail, right? You want to embed that into a system that automatically orders parts. All of these things are embeddable.
So we have a question that's just come in from Blake, who is interested to know how this could complement a business that uses SAS.
A business that uses SAS today? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question, Blake. And we at SAP here always assume that this is a coexistence strategy. We are not here to displace what customers are doing with what I refer to as heavy-hitting tools like SAS. SAS is designed, and they'll admit to this, for a very specific type of user, right? And that is a statistician, a data scientist. You would never put a SAS tool in front of a business audience and in front of a marketing department. And those are the kind of departments that are licensing predictive analytics from SAP, right? So we're different. We're for a different kind of user, lots of different kinds of users. We're designed to be faster, to be simpler. And if you look at our product direction, we're only going to achieve more in that area.
And if we look at it, what we're seeing is a democratization of data, predictive analytics and data science, where people have become aware of what the potential is for them to make money from this. I mean, the example that Mike just gave was amazing, because if you think about it, what companies are doing there is they're actually taking high-value products and they're competing on price on the Canon that costs $500, and then they're making all their money on the HD cards which go along with it, which they recommend. So they're able to do things like that, and what our product does is it allows business users in smaller line of businesses within those organizations that might not have had the data science training or the ability to go and run a SAS model on that, to be able to benefit from recommendations and link analysis. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. I think I saw another chat come up before Blake gave us a nice comment. Was there a chat? Was there something about Infinite Insight that had come up? I'm not looking at them.
Yeah, how does Infinite Insight fit into this?
So Infinite Insight is now referred to as automated analytics under Predictive Analytics 2.0. So it's still here. That's the acquisition of by SAP of KXAN. Okay, and that's the Infinite Insight product. So all automated analytics going forward is based on the Infinite Insight solution. It's just been renamed. Expert Analytics, again, is the Predictive Analysis product, which is more for BW integration and for more custom individual statisticians, data scientists who want to really work with algorithms and do things based on R, Java, that kind of stuff.
No, that's it for today.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
Thanks very much, Mike. We'll hand over to Jan. It's been a pleasure to have everybody here today, and we look forward to seeing you in the next webinar.